Yeah, my job is here to show you what we have recently developed for a customer. So the story is last year I had a visit here. It's BrauBeviale from a customer from Norway, from Ringnes at this time. And yeah, what we usually experience in most of our customer side is the complete documentation of a fermentation batch is quite old school. Means most of our customers are still using some kind of Excel sheets to draw and to implement and to input all the values from the PCS, from the laboratory into a sheet to have a full documentation of a fermentation batch. So this is a typical example how it looked like at Ringnes, and it's all based on, here in this time, on a standard Excel sheet where the customer always has to draw the fermentation chart into the sheet, add the values coming from the process control system or from lab or from wherever. And so it looked like 1 year ago at Ringnes in the operating room. Means you can see the different printouts of the Excel sheets with all the curves and all the lab values, and you see here gearing, hosting, kühling, renering. Yeah, it's just the status that the operators could see. How many fermenters do we have in the fermentation step or in the cooling step at the moment, and take a look how is the fermentation batch running. And now the request came to us, and this was a quite logical request in my opinion. Can we replace all the paperwork? And can we develop a much more state-of-the-art solution? And of course, we can do this, we could do this. And what did we do? We developed a complete web-based solution, which is usually used on top of our standard brewmaxx solution. But the one big advantage is it is completely independent from the actual brewmaxx version. So at Ringnes at the moment we have installed, I wouldn't say old, but a quite old version, a version 9.5 running. And in parallel to this, we installed our so-called Fermentation Book, which is completely based on a web interface using our standard web overview, which comes with the brewmaxx solution. And what you can see here, this is a standard overview about all the fermentation, for all the fermenters which are currently running in the brewery. So here you get a much more detailed view. So you can see here all the different fermenters, means with the blue color, it's this kind, it's beer type number 1. Then you have the next color for beer type number 2, 3, and 4. But this is completely parameterizable, means you are totally flexible to make the parameterization what you want to see, in which color you want to see it, and also which measurement should be interesting for you in the main overview. Here on the top you have additional filter possibilities, means you can select what you see. What do you want to see? Only certain steps? Do you want to see certain brand names or materials? So in the next example slide we already have filtered to the different steps. Means here we can only see the filling, fermentation, cropping, storage and emptying steps in this overview, and only beer type 1 to 4. And here in this overview, you can directly see how many beer types at the moment are in the filling step and which brand is in the filling step. And what else can you see here? You see here a red column. Means in this case, the fermentation process is running out of specs. Means there is an alarm parameterized, so that the operator can directly see, oh, I have to take a look at my fermenter number 2 at this time, filled with the beer type number 1. There is going something wrong. Or the second thing is with the yellow ribbon around this fermenter. This means in this case we have an operator request running at the moment. This could be defined that they have to take a sample to make a measure of the color of the beer or a taste event or whatever. So this is completely free parameterizable. The next example here is a next filter where we can only see an overview of the different beer types in the different steps. So in this overview we only show beer type number 1, and so we can see at the moment we have 1 fermenter in the filling step at the moment, where 3 fermenters with the beer type 1 in the fermentation step, and so on. So this is a quite useful overview for the operators to have an impression about what is happening at the moment in my cellar, and is there something running out of the predefined specifications. When you click on the detail of one of the batches, then you can start the complete parameterization. Means we have here the fermentation, the yeast tab, the filling tab, the lab tab for the laboratory values, and the filtration tab. What we get here in the first slide is we get an overview from which different brews this fermenter has been filled. Means it was filled 4 times with brew number 1187 up to 1190, and we also see the total volume of beer which is currently stored in this fermenter. And here, in this overview, we can make the parameterization, means the lower limits, upper limits of the different values I want to have shown into my fermentation book. So the normal way is to show, of course, the temperature and the degree of Plato. And here I can freely define what should be the upper and lower limit on the different days where we have parameterized it. We have a total fermentation time of 15 days, but depending on the beer type, depending on the brewery, this can be changed individually. So if you have beer types of fermenters where you have a fermentation time of 20 days or 25 days, we just can change it. Not only us can change it, also the operator directly can change it in the parameterization front end. And here he gets an overview about the current curves, and he can freely define here operations. Means this is what we have shown you before on the yellow column around the different fermenters. Means if on day number 5 the operator should take a sample and checks the color of the beer. On day number 7, he should go to the fermenter and drink something and have a taste sample or whatever. This all can be freely parameterized here and stored in the system. Means with this, the operator, the brewery, has a complete documentation of the fermentation batches over years. So it means there is no time or no limit to store this different information about the different batches. And here, if we go to the next tab, you see the information about the yeast. Means you can also here see the different volumes which have been used from the different yeast tanks or for the yeast cropping. You can also get the information about the filling, means to which BBTs the beer has been transferred at what time and which amount. And here for the lab data, you can parameterize which data is relevant, which should be measured by the laboratory, and means you can define which values should be entered, and you also can freely define if there are any upper or lower limits which should be displayed if we are running out of specs. And this can be absolute value, percentage value, or whatever you want to have in the system. Yeah, and the next part, of course, here again is the BBTs. And here another example for how to parameterize the limits for the different days. So in this case, we have defined 12 days for the fermentation process. Here you can add additional days if you want to extend the fermentation time. Freely define your lower and upper limit, and then we just have to display it. And the good thing is we can take all the values directly out of the brewmaxx system if it's already available, or we can enter the values in manual mode if this is a value which is not available in the PCS at the moment. Yeah, and so it looks like now at 𝗀esse Brewery. I've been here at 𝗀esse 1 week ago. Now, instead of all the paper printouts in the operating room, they have 3 big monitors installed, 2 meters high each one. And there they have the overview where they can see about the status, which fermenter is running in which stage, which is running out of spec. So it's much more state of the art compared to the paperwork they had 1 year ago. Yeah, and here are the benefits in a summary of this. We have a complete documentation of all the fermentation batches. This is an individual extension of the brewmaxx system. Means this can run totally independent from brewmaxx, or best case, of course, on top of the brewmaxx system, because we can easily extract all the values we already have available in the PCS directly to the fermentation book. Yeah, and we contain all the information about wort filling, wort emptying, about the complete yeast path. We make the visualization of the ongoing processes, including displaying all the warnings and alarms, which we can freely parameterize. And of course, again, the measured values, which you already have in the PCS level. And it is a fully browser-based solution. So means you are very, very flexible. Yeah, and with all this data you have available, the next step is to optimize the fermentation process, because as you probably know as a brewmaster, there are 5 main criteria for the fermentation process. It's the temperature, it's the quality of water, it's the yeast nutrition, so means the wall quality, the oxygen content, and the vitality of the yeast. And depending on the fermentation process, you can adjust this, add some food for the yeast, or change your complete production process to improve the quality of the fermentation process, which means that you have lower vessel occupation times, which saves you money, that you have a more or higher consistent product quality, and at the end, lower costs. And I think this is the highest goal for each brewery. And with the new fermentation book, we help you to reach your goals. And this is a very, I would say, easy, low-hanging fruit, what you can realize, because most of the data you already have available in the PCS level. You just have to put this as an add-on on top of the PCS level, and then you have the complete documentation available, stored in the SQL database, and can do whatever you want with the data. I think this was my pre-last slide. Yeah, this was already my last slide here.